Welcome to Made to Last TV. This particular video is for single ladies. Please, I will put as the title, if he doesn't have money, make sure he has common sense. Let me start this by telling you a story. A gentleman who lives in Lagos, in Agege, Lagos, Nigeria, went to his hometown in the southeast Nigeria to marry, to get a wife. So after getting married, he brought the wife to Lagos where he was living. And after some time, after a couple of years, like 2-3 years or so, he took the wife to the village and complained that the wife is a witch, that he was doing well before financially, and immediately the wife came into his life, things got bad, that the woman is a witch, that he was not doing again. But what happened now? Incidentally, I was there when the matter was being handled. I asked a whole lot of questions. And I want to tell you what happened. What happened was that this gentleman was doing, he had a boutique that was not even that big. A moderate or a small size boutique within Agege, where they call Old Ukoba in Agege, Lagos, where he was managing his business, and he lived in a one-room apartment. This face me, I face you apartment that was also very cheap. Now, this gentleman gathered a little money from his business and did his wedding, traditional wedding, then brought his wife back. And before you know it, the wife was pregnant. In fact, immediately the wife came with him, the first thing he did was to add another room to make it 2 rooms. Now that he's a married man in the same compound or the same house. So they started living. The wife started joining in his business. Now what happened is, before you know it, the woman got pregnant, went for antenatal and the rest. And the next thing, she put to bed. But unfortunately, it was through CS. It was not a normal delivery, so which increased the amount of money they spent rather. Then the first baby came. Before you know it again, the second baby came. I think that was when he said that the woman is a witch, because the shop had gradually gotten empty. But the truth is this, why I said if he doesn't have money, make sure he has common sense, is that this guy was living alone, only him, in a one-room apartment. It was from that same, when they got married, it was from that same boutique that he took money to do his wedding. Now when they came back, it was from that same boutique that he took money and rented additional one apartment in addition to the one room. That's additional room to the room he was living before he traveled for his wedding. Then, before you know it, the wife got pregnant. And now, he was feeding only himself, living in a room. This time around, he started feeding 2 people, that is him and his wife. Then, antenatal came, he started spending money too, little money in the hospital. The woman put to bed through CS, additional expenses. The baby came, now 3 people to be fed. And before you know it, baby number 2 came. That's 4 people now to be fed on the same source of income, the same moderate sized or even small sized boutique. No additional income. It was that same boutique that he put his wife into when she came from the southeast. So, but he called the wife a witch, that when he was alone, he was doing fine. Of course, feeding himself, living in one-room apartment and owning a boutique, he will assume that he was doing fine until additional expenses came. I did everything to explain to him that it was not his wife, that the wife is not a witch, that it was additional expenses that came. Additional apartment, additional 3 people to be fed, and so on and so forth. And not that the business has increased. And it's not as if the shop was such a big shop. Even if it is, expenses had increased with the same income, no additional income, and that was what led to this. Now, why I said this is, you need to marry. As a single lady, don't just marry anything you see. Marry people who can reason, because while talking to that man, I did everything to explain this to him. He didn't get it. In fact, if you are talking A, he's talking Z, like you're practically talking to yourself, not him. All effort to save things, he refused to abandon the woman in the village and traveled with the children in the village and traveled alone. I may have used this young man, an illiterate boutique owner, as an instance. There are many who are so-called educated. They have degrees. Some of them work at the bank. Some work in other companies. But when it comes to common sense, it does not exist. And these things, you will see that right from dating or courtship. If you ignore such things, you will cry later. Let me tell you another story. A lady was working in a bank and was living comfortably in a choice place in Lagos State in a 2-bedroom apartment. Now, he married a businessman who sells auto parts, automobile parts, that's motor parts. That's automobile spare parts in a market too in Lagos. While they were dating, the man hardly spent money. She saw all those things and then she still went ahead. The man must complain. In fact, if she cooked with different things like stockfish, cow skin, and a lot of other things, the man will complain that you're supposed to just buy only meat, or only stockfish, or only pomo, that's cow skin, and used to cook. If she adds other things, like 2 or 3 things in one soup, the man will complain, even before they got married. Where the lady was living, she had a big generator that powers everything, including her air conditioners. And she used to run her generator. If there was no power from the national grid, that's NEPA light, she would run her generator from 7 p.m. sometimes till daybreak, or sometimes late into the night, or until the light, that's NEPA light, will come. But immediately she got married to this man, the man said never. And sometimes when she was at home on Saturdays, or on Sundays, that's weekends, when she wasn't working, she used to use her generator to watch movie, do 1 or 2 things at home. Anytime she was at home, she used to have light as a single lady. But after marriage, the man said, number one is that there's nothing like using generator during the daytime. That generators are meant for only at night. And even at that night, generators should come on by 7 p.m. and by 10, it will go off. In fact, these people will be eating food that time they got married newly, the daytime, and sweating, something the woman was not used to at all. And of course, after getting married, he insisted that she should move out of her own apartment at a choice place in Lagos to move to a semi-slum close to the market where the man sells parts. She did. So at night, no matter how hot it was, even when they could reasonably afford to buy petrol for the gen, the man will insist that no generator. Once it is 7 to 10, that's the end. Arguments started in a lot of other things, so that they practically argued in everything. But this is where there from the beginning. The lady had a car. The man said no, they cannot maintain 2 cars. That she would be joining public bus. That they should sell the car. He insisted and they sold the wife's car. And once in a while, he would drop her at the bus stop, not even taking her to the place where she worked. So he would drop her at the bus stop once in a while. Sometimes she would walk to the bus stop from the house. One argument after another. And what do you expect? The marriage didn't last. So once again, if he doesn't, this time around, this one had money, he was doing a business. So that common sense is important, whether he has money or not. But at least if he doesn't have money, let him have at least common sense. This is Made to Last TV. See you again soon.